Hey, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Tears Tulle Talk, a podcast dedicated to helping women show up from within the chaos of everyday life to reconnect with their magic. I am so incredibly excited today that we have Paige Major with us. Paige wore the skirt the very first time. And so, Paige, I'm so excited you're here. And I would love for you just to tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, my name is Paige Major. I'm a brand photographer and strategist, and I specialize in helping multi-passionate entrepreneurs create and build brands that attract their dream clients, but infusing themselves in who they really are as a person.
Yes, and I've actually worked with you a little bit myself, and there is definite magic in what you create with your clients and with different people that are choosing to work with you. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course.
So we start every podcast out with a Tears Tulle moment. So this is like the heart of Tears Tulle. And what we ask people to do is give us a even when, especially then moment. So for those of you who might just be listening for the first time, we say something that we like about ourselves, and then we say something that might not exactly be going right, and then we end it with especially then. So Paige, we asked you ahead of time to pick something that you wanted to share, and we'd love to hear what your even when, especially then is.
Okay, I am a strong leader, even when I am feeling disorganized and messy, especially then.
Especially then. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Okay, so I've been waiting for this podcast episode because I am so excited. You wore the skirt the first time. So you're the first pictures we received, the first information, the first story, the first everything. And so I just loved your bravery and your courage for coming forward. And there were some schedule changes and you offered right up. You said, I will be that first person. And I am eternally grateful for that. And I would love to hear your experience from the time that the skirt actually showed up at your home to the time that you let it go to the next person, because the skirt has gained just this energy and this momentum as it's gone from woman to woman. And you started that all by wearing it the first time. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So at first when it showed up, it was a very small box. So I was like, okay, I've seen a picture of this thing and it's huge. So how on earth is this thing smashed into this little box? So then I opened it and it filled my entire studio. I opened it out in my studio and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even take pictures in this place because it's so big. And I know one of my worries was like, oh, it's going to get dirty or it's going to get tattered or something, but it actually just, you can shake it out and it all just fluffs back up and looks pretty again. So I guess my very first initial was just like, how is this fitting into this such small box? And I thought it was really neat how something that came in something so tiny could like come out and be so big and magnificent.
And the box keeps getting smaller with like every person says the box keeps getting smaller. So it's amazing that fabric is able to compact. It's like those the old vacuum bags that you'd suck all the air out of it and then it's out, you know? So
yeah.
I totally agree with that. Go on. I'm sorry.
Oh, what was my next question? I forgot what else I was supposed to say about it.
You were talking about from the time it arrived. So we just had arrival, and then what happened after? You must have had to take it out of your studio to photograph it.
Yes. So we ended up, I had a friend, a lot of my photos I do myself, but for this, I was like, this is really special. And we need I need to not have to be worrying about that so that I could just like feel the energy and all of that. So my friend came and we went down to a park, actually the Fort Vancouver Barracks, so an old military ground. And we just took pictures out in the streets there. And we had a couple people walk by and be like, is this for a magazine? Is this for, and we're just like, oh, just taking some photos. We dress like this every day. It's just no big deal. So that was, it just, when I put it on, and I think when I ended up posting it on Instagram, it was just like a day in the life of, or just another typical Monday or something like that. Cause it just, putting it on, you just kind of feel like like, it's a mix of powerful but feminine. And like, people are going to be, I mean, there's no way for people not to look at you when you're wearing it. So it's just having all the eyes on you, but not caring at all, or having any sort of negative feelings about it. And it was really fun. We had a lot of fun with it. And then I had to ship it. I think it went to Canada after me. So.
Yes, and that was an easier trip to Canada with the pandemic right now. I think it took 6 weeks to get there this past time. So,
oh my gosh.
But the participants have been amazing. They're keeping it for like a day and then sending it to the next person. So it seems to all be working out. But yeah, I remember the Canadian mail and everything being different than the US mail. And yeah, it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, and when I took it to the post office, I was like, I need tracking on this because it's like, it's really important. And they were like, well, we can only track to the US border. And then once it's in Canada, like, they have a different postal whatever system. So we can't guarantee. I'm like, oh my gosh, if this thing gets lost, it's going to be the end. Like, so that was kind of nerve-wracking.
I just imagine too, like, some customs person opening it and like searching through it to make sure there's like nothing hidden. It's huge. It's just this huge, piece of fabric that keeps on going. So yeah. So your pictures, they looked like something out of a fairy tale book. They were just so magical and so beautiful. And I love that you paired it with different like Black items for that tears portion of that. Mm-hmm. Do you have any tears and tulle moments you might have in your own life that sort of corresponded with you wearing the dress, you wearing the skirt and pairing it with those Black items? Like, so did that touch home for you?
I think something that really, that I could relate that to was I owned a cheerleading gym for 12 years, and that was my life. I started cheering when I was 8. So that was all I knew. I had not had an evening off, like, or a weekend really, because that's when we were competing, and evenings practices were always in the evening. So I didn't know what it was like to have an evening off, like, since I was a child. And so I decided in 2018 that I was going to close my gym and pursue branding and photography and move in a different direction. And I think just making the decision to walk away from something that I can talk about cheerleading like the back of my hand. I'm an expert in that. And it was just moving into a new industry was scary. And also just like stopping something and starting something new. I think that the skirt could definitely represent like blossoming and blooming into something brand new that's kind of scary and out there, but that it's all going to, just going for it is going to be fine. I really believe you're never too old to make a change and find a new dream and change what you're doing. I think so often people get stuck in what they're doing and think that that's all they can do because it's the expert in it, or because they're an expert in that field, or it's what they've been doing so long. But it's like, it's okay to step out and try something new, because if you go for it, then you can make it happen. So
yeah. And I think that like when we're young too, we do become like really good at something, and we think like that's our thing then. And so then we have this like responsibility to it. And I think that the skirt represents like all those layers. So like your cheerleading gym, and then what you're doing now, which is empowering so many people to do such cool things. So just your energy and alt and like just the whole thing. Like it's like a whole new layer, I feel like, to that skirt. And so I think we're all wearing like that invisible skirt all the time, it's just, we add to the layers of it. So how cool, how brave of you to branch out and try something new after all those, it's so many years doing something. And I can see your passion connected to that too, just by following you on social media and that sort of thing. But I think what you're doing right now is really cool. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So who's inspiring you these days? Like, is there someone who's inspiring you in the world that kind of helps to guide you where you're going?
I really, really love Jasmine Star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she is a person who I relate to. She's quick and witty and talks fast and is very real. And I like fast moving things. So she's a person who I really, really admire. I love watching my friends in business be successful. Like I know there's this thing with women being cutthroat and catty and like wanting to succeed and be better or whatever. And I'm a person who really believes like the more we all win, the better it is for us specifically as women too. And so anytime I like really, really thrive off of my friends leveling up in their business and my clients as well. It's just really exciting to like, it gives me energy. And if I see them, hit a certain dollar figure mark or have a really good launch or something like that, I'm just like, see, that can be me too. I can do that. And so I think just being friends with so many entrepreneurs and creative business people is really, really motivating to me to see like, we can all do whatever we want if we just go for it and put in the work. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Aria, who's going to be the skirt will go to Honolulu, and let's all just put like the energy out there that it gets there and it gets back like it's supposed to. But
yeah.
Part of Mob Nation, is it? That yes. And I'm getting to know what she does in the world a little bit more through having this experience with her. But I know that you two, I believe, are friends.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool to hear you say that you love seeing women succeed and lift each other up, because I don't think that that's always been the case, or how we grow up learning, how we have to be guarded in certain ways. And so it's neat to see that you're part of a community that I'm also part of now. And then we have Tears Tulle, which the women have just been so supportive of each other. And I see you on there like, oh my gosh, she's badass. Like I saw like your little comment on Liz's a few weeks back. And it's just neat to know that there are women who could motivate other women who might be a little scared to get into that space because they've been burned or hurt in some way to, like you said, just go for it and, go from there. So
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I try to ask this question if there's time, and there is. So I'm wondering what you wanted to be when you were a little kid, and if that lines up with what you're doing now in the world.
Okay, so in 4th grade, so when I was 9, I decided that I wanted to have a cheerleading gym.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. So that was a thing I carried with me from when I was 9. And then I ended up doing it. Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted at first when I was like 8, it was gymnastics because I did gymnastics. And then I tried out for my first cheer team, and I only knew it as like Pee Wee cheerleading for football. And then in 4th grade, I moved to Kentucky and joined an all-star program, which was like a gym that was gymnastics and cheerleading. And I was like, I want one of my own of this someday. And so that was really the thing that I mean, throughout there, I thought, maybe I'll be a teacher. I wanted to be a journalist and be on video and things like that at some point. In middle school, I was going to be a makeup artist, which I did do makeup for a while after high school. And one of my other dreams, which is kind of funny, is when I was probably 16, I said, someday I want to have a studio that's like glamour shots, but not so cheesy, like the 80s, 90s cheesy. I'm like, no, but I want us to like for people to feel good about themselves and whatever. So the fact that it's kind of evolved from one dream to the other is, so I'm doing what I wanted to do when I was a kid. So.
Oh my gosh. I'm having flashbacks of like the glamour shots, and my neighbor went and when we were like, I don't know how young we were, but she went and she had the glamour shots done. Maybe we were like 14 or 15 or something. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I want to go do that. I want to get like all jazzed up and just whatever. And back then it didn't seem as cheesy as it does now.
Right. And it was kind of expensive, I feel like.
It was. Yeah. And I wasn't able to go, but I love this idea that what you're doing is like that minus the cheese, but with the like feeling so good about yourself, and just taking the time to be photographed and to say like, I'm important and I have something to say to the world, and can you capture that about me? And I think you do that so brilliantly in your photography, and the different things that you're doing in the world. And I'm really more excited than you know to see where you continue to grow with all of that and how you expand into the world. So
yeah, thank you so much.
oh, cool. Yeah. Could you tell listeners and viewers where they can find you online, what they can,
Yes.
where they can go, and what you might have going on right now, if anything,
Yes.
during a pandemic?
Yes, my website is paigemajor.com. So just Paige and then major, like the regular word, Major. I am on Instagram as Paige Major Creative. And I just started a YouTube channel. Well, I had it for a couple of months, but I haven't told anybody about it. So, and it's just youtube.com/Paige Major. And my reason for making that announcement is because I say I want to make more video, but if I put it out there, then I'm committing to doing it. So yeah.
I think I just subscribed. I think you just might have sent me something and I just subscribed. So yeah, everyone should go and subscribe. And if you go to Paige's Instagram account, she has the coolest quotes on there. They're so colorful. There's often hot pink and rainbow, and they have wonderful messages. So go check that out if you get a moment. And thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your heart.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you later, Paige.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.